How to install the add-on. Go to Edit Preferences, select Add-ons. Click on the arrow, Install from Disk, and choose Zip File from your computer. After installation, type FSPI and check that the add-on is enabled. Also check that Node Wrangler is enabled. Click on Save Preferences. Let's begin. Press it to select all, then delete all objects. Go to File, Import, and select FSPI file. Select FSPI file on your computer. Camera with ready settings will be added. Press Shift right-click in the center to set the 3D cursor position. Then Shift A and add cube. Switch to wireframe viewport shading. Move the cube so that the angles match the image. Press Tab to enter edit mode. Move the left face along the X-axis to match the reference. Select and set the position of the top face. Select the far face and move it along the Y-axis. Adjust the position of other faces. The camera should be inside the box. Select the top face, then go to the camera view. Move the top face along the Z-axis to make the ceiling higher. Don't worry if it doesn't match perfectly. Press Ctrl R to add a loop cut. Adjust the loop cut position. It should match the ceiling surface. Add the loop cut again. It should match the front edge of the nearest step. Add the loop cut for the third time. It should match the end of the stair. Select the bottom face. Press Shift D to duplicate the face. Then press Escape to cancel moving the duplicated face, and press P to separate the face from the object. Select the main object and rename it to Wall. Select the separated face and rename it to Stair. Select Stair object and go to the camera view. Move the plane along the Z-axis to match the reference. Select the front edge in the edit mode. Press E then Z to extrude the edge along the Z-axis and move it to the bottom. Select the upper front edge and press Ctrl B to bevel. Go to the bevel options. Select Custom Profile Type. Choose Steps in Preset menu. Increase segments to 14. Click to apply preset. Go to the camera view. Make sure that you are in edit mode. Select all faces, press S then Y and scale them as shown on the screen. Adjust the stair position along the Y-axis to match the reference. Delete the bottom face. Duplicate the stair and move it along the Y and Z axes. Return to the camera view and adjust Z position. In the edit mode, duplicate the stair again and set the position as shown on the screen. This part is unnecessary as it's not visible from the camera. Make the floor and connect the stair with it. Let's make the space above. Select the top faces of the hall. Press E to extrude. Select the side faces. Press E then S and Shift Z to extrude the faces. Press S and X to scale the faces along the X-axis. Now we created the room above the hall. In the edit mode, click left mouse button holding Alt on the edge to select an edge loop. Press F to fill this loop with a polygon. Select the new face and press P to separate. Select the separated object and name it ceiling. In edit mode, select all vertices except the corners. Press Ctrl X to dissolve the central vertices. The polygon should contain only 4 corner vertices. Select the edge and go to the camera view. Move the edge along the Y-axis to match the endmost rib. Press Ctrl R and scroll mouse wheel to add multiple loop cuts. Go to the top view and select the edges as shown on the screen. Press Ctrl I to invert the selection and delete all unnecessary edges. Go to the camera view. Press E and Y to extrude the edges along the Y-axis. Switch to face selection and select all. Extrude the faces along the Z-axis. Select one of the boxes. Make sure you selected the box along with the side caps. Duplicate and rotate them. Scale it and adjust the position of the side cap. Press Ctrl L to select the linked geometry. The entire box should be selected. Enter the camera view and scale the box approximately like in the picture. Move along the Z-axis a little to avoid intersection. Our ceiling edges are ready now. Lift up the top faces to add more space. Now we are ready to add lighting to our scene. But first, we need to set up render settings. Go to Render tab. Switch EV to Cycles. Replace CPU with GPU Compute. Set sampling setting as shown on the screen. Check denoise box to get a smooth viewport render result. Go to Color Management settings at the bottom. Switch from AGX to Chronos PBR to get more vibrant colors. Set look to medium high contrast. Go to Output Properties and check Render Region. Add a spotlight. Adjust the light position. Go to Light Settings. Increase power and set spot size to 125. Click Use Nodes to enable Shader Editor nodes. Open Shader Editor. Select Emission node and press Ctrl-T. Node Wrangler should be enabled. Click Open and select the Water Caustic texture. The files for the project are available for download in the link left in the description. Switch the socket from color to string. Add Meth node. Set it to multiply and set value to 200. Change emission color to yellow. You may enter hex code if you want the same color. Change texture coordinate from UV to normal to get more accurate mapping result. Let's animate it. Add noise texture. Switch from 3D to 4D. Set other parameters as shown on the screen. Add Mix node and select Vector mode. Connect the sockets in the correct order. Set mix factor to .065. Type frame/155 in W field. Press play or spacebar to see the result. Now let's make the water moving more varied. Duplicate mix node. Hold Ctrl and Shift and press D to duplicate noise texture with vector socket connected. Connect noise texture node and set scale to 5. Type frame/120 in W field. Set distortion to .5 for both noise textures. Press spacebar to see the result. Now let's add a light at the end of the tunnel. Click right mouse button holding Shift to set 3D cursor position. Add point light. Increase power and change color. Move the light along the x-axis. Play with the power and position of the light to get a suitable result. Select Ceiling Ribs object and go to Edit mode. Select the farthest from camera face. Press Shift S to open Snap menu and select Cursor to selected. Then go to Object menu, set Origin to 3D Cursor. Now we can scale in the right way. Go to Camera View. Press S, then Y and scale the object, increasing the gaps. Let's add some details to our geometry. Select the walls and go to Edit mode. Click left mouse button holding Shift to select the edge loop. Move this loop along the Y-axis to match the seams on the reference image. Repeat the same actions for the second loop. Add another one loop cut. Select the hall walls. Return to camera view. Press I to insert, then press I again to insert each face individually. Switch pivot point from median point to individual origin. Press E to extrude. Select the stairs and the ceiling elements and scale them a little along the x-axis. Deselect all. Select both stairs and walls and press Ctrl J to join the objects together. Select all faces and press Ctrl B to bevel. .1 value should be okay. Now it's time to add a shader. Make sure that Shader Editor is open and click New to create a new material. Rename it to Travertine. Select Principled BSDF node and press Ctrl-Shift-T. Add all textures at once. In Edit mode, select all faces. Press U to unwrap and select Cube Projection. Open UV Editor. Select all faces in 3D viewport. Scale down the faces in UV Editor. Go to Shader Editor and increase Y-scale value. Close UV Editor. It looks a little dark, so let's increase the light intensity. Select the spotlight and set power to 400. Select point light and set power to 1200. Let's see the result. Press spacebar. The fake caustic looks nice, but we have an issue with the shadows. They are straight and motionless. Let's fix it. Duplicate ceiling object and rename it to Ceiling Shadow. Go to Modifiers tab and add Remesh modifier. Set voxel size to 0.04. Go to Geometry Node Editor. Click New to create a new node tree. Insert Set Position node between input and output. Add noise texture. Connect color to offset socket. Change 3D to 4D. Type hash frame /125 as W value. Now it's moving and drop shifting shadow. But looks like garbage. Looks clumpy and shifted from the original position. Set detail and roughness to 0 to make it smoother. Add Vector Math node and change it to Substract. Set value to 0.5. Now it has returned to the original position, but it still looks clumpy. Let's decrease the noise strength. Copy Vector Math node and change it to Multiply. Now we can control XYZ channels separately. Sat1, 1.5. Duplicate Vector Math node again. Set the Math option to Scale. Set Scale to 0.5. Check the result. Excellent! The shadow started moving. Now we have straight and clumpy objects and same shadows of them, but we need only one of each of them. Let's hide the unnecessary ones. Select Ceiling Shadow Object. Go to Object Properties. Find Visibility and the Ray Visibility options. Uncheck all marks except shadow. Select Ceiling Object. Disable Shadow option. Now it looks right but too curvy. Select Ceiling Shadow Object. Set Scale to .2 in Geometry Node Editor. Now it's more neat. But still has an artifact from the shadow. Let's fix it. Select Ceiling Shadow Object. Set the object scale to .3. Move down by .1. Make sure that there is no any gap between the ceiling ribs and the shadows. Let's add some fake ceiling glass and water. Separate his face into an individual object from ceiling object. Extrude the face to cover the hall. Rename the object to Volume. Go to Shader Editor and click New to create a new material. Delete Principled BSDF node. Add Volume Scatter node and connect it to Volume Socket. Set Density to .5. Go to Item menu and set the object scale to .3. Now it looks like water. Now let's add the finishing touches and make the light animation similar to the original movie. Select Spotlight and go to Item menu. Press N if panel is hidden. Set the values to 0, then 7.5 and 8.5 for X, Y, and Z location. Go to Shader Editor. Add Value node and connect it to Mapping Scale. Set value to 1.8. Let's the change caustic speed. For W value, type frame/100. Type frame/150 for the second noise texture. Set multiply value to 100. Let's smooth out the edge of the shadow. Go to Light Settings. Set radius to .03. Let's add the moving animation. Open Timeline. Make sure Spotlight is selected. Set the marker to the first frame. Set end frame to 170. Go to Item menu. Press I to add the animation key. Set the marker to the last frame. Set X location to 4.5 and press I again. Press play or spacebar to see the result. Let's set up Output Properties to save the animation. Go to Output Properties tab. Set the resolution. I will leave it as it is, ultra wide. Make sure you unchecked Render Region Mark. Go to Output, change the Output folder if you want. Change file format to FFmpeg video. Open Encoding menu and select MPEG-4 instead of Matroska. Set quality to perceptually lossless. Go to Render menu and press Render Animation. It's done. Let's see the final result. Thanks for the watching. Hit like and subscribe if you want more content like this. And see you in the next tutorials.